In my quest to make more and more of what I use myself, I've showed you several videos, at least three, I think, on breakfast sandwiches of various sorts. So sometimes I use Canadian bacon in them. Sometimes I use regular strips of bacon in them. Sometimes I use pork sausage patties. But I have always purchased the pork sausage patties pre-made. So this time I bought 3 1-pound chubs of hot premium sausage, 3 1-pound chubs of regular premium sausage. I mixed all 6 of those together, added a giant onion with it, an entire head of garlic, and we're gonna make our own pork sausage patties this time. Okay, so we're making our own sausage patties this time. So I'm using 3 packages of hot premium sausage and 3 packages of original premium sausage, along with this large white onion and all of this garlic. And we're going to mince the garlic and mince the onion and put it all together in with that meat, and then we'll get to some spices. Okay, so minced up the onion really fine, and an entire head of garlic, minced it up fine too, and mixed it with all of the meat, and now we're gonna make patties out of them. Okay, there is so much grease in here that I've poured off that much so far, and you can tell this just has, it's pretty warm. And I've been draining them on paper towels as well. Now, part of the reason why I'm using so much pork lately, I don't usually cook with pork much. I don't like the fact that they don't have sweat glands. Your skin is your largest organ of purification for your body. And them not having sweat glands, I don't know. I just feel like it's, number one, it's really fatty, normally the meat, and I'm afraid that it's full of impurities due to not having, ways of getting rid of impurities through the skin. But since I am trying to become more and more self-sufficient, I am convinced that there is some point where I may have to be almost entirely self-sufficient. Pork is the easiest meat to raise. Now, I live in an area where I'm very blessed. I have the ocean on one side and I have the river on another. So I have both fresh and saltwater fish available to me that I can barter for with the fishermen. But pigs, I could raise myself on my property. I can also have a limited amount of lamb because I am going to pay for stud for my girl goats so that they continue to produce milk, obviously, for my milk and cheese. So generally you give one of the lambs to the person that provided the stud for your female. But I would still have other kids to be able to use for meat. But I'm not very proficient at using pork because other than, like big, thick, nice boneless pork chops, I'm not really hip to cooking with pork because it is so fatty, and I haven't eaten it a lot. I'm more of a beef, fish, and chicken girl normally. So I am exploring new things with pork, hence the pigs in a blanket recipe that we just posted a couple of days ago. And like I said, they're very, very easy to raise here, and it's very commonly done in small home farms. Sorry, I had to change my light. That bulb over there is going, so it was blinking, and I'm sure that looked weird on the video. So I turned you off for a second so that I could do that. At any rate, we're going to get back to cooking our sausage patties. Okay, so I cooked all of my patties. You can see they're in several layers with paper towel in between them to absorb the extra grease. And now I'm going to use these little squares of parchment patty paper to separate them. Put one, put a paper, put another paper, and I'm going to store them in that silicone Ziploc bag to put inside my bench freezer. A little note, putting them on the paper towel to get the excess grease off was great, but I should have taken them off the paper towels and put them on parchment paper before freezing them, because I'm having to pick paper off of the bottom of every one of these patties so far. So every time I do something new, I learn something new, So yeah, I really like the flavor of these better, by the way. I ate one of them when I was preparing them, and I like them a lot better than the ones that I purchased. Plus, I'm able to pour off the grease and save it in the fridge for future cooking, and therefore they are not as fattening when I use them in my breakfast sandwiches. But yeah, use the paper towel to sop up the grease, and then switch to parchment paper before you put them in the freezer, or you'll be getting your fingernails dirty like I am with scraping paper off of the bottom of your patties. Oh well, real life, lesson learned. So after doing a dozen of them, I have found that if I put my hand on top of it for a few minutes, the warmth of my hand is enough to melt the grease so that the paper peels off completely instead of having to scrape it off with my fingernails. So that's how I got the paper off at the top of all of this. And now I'll have to do it individually for each of the bottoms. So yeah, if you don't have parchment paper, I don't know, just use the hand warming technique to get the paper off. Dear. Well, you got quite the greasy mess left there. But I have 34 packaged in parchment paper in the silicone bag ready to go into the freezer. And I really do like the flavor of this better. Now I'm going to have to sit down and figure out the cost and see if it was worth it economically. Okay, different day. Conclusions. It was definitely worth it. I like the flavor of the patties better. Mixing the hot sausage with the regular sausage was really nice. And I hate the way my nose looks all red. I think it's reflecting off of my orange top. Today it's so red under there in the videos. Anyway, I used 6 pounds of sausage, 3 chubs, 1 pound chubs of premium, and 3 1-pound chubs of hot premium. I mixed them together. I added in the garlic and quite a bit of garlic, and the onion, quite a bit of onion. And I really enjoy the flavor of both of those things in there. And I enjoy the health benefits of the garlic and the onions in the food. So that was good. They were a pain in the tail to make. I thought that I was just going to use the large rings from the wide mouth jars from my canning jars, because that's what I use to do the eggs in, so that they're the right size for English muffins, and also so they're round. And my son makes them usually. And we break the yolk so that it's a flat egg and it will make a better stackable sandwich, and it takes up less room in the freezer, and it freezes and heats more evenly than when the yolk is all lumped up in the center, you know. Anyway, that cost me $17.64. And I got 34 patties out of it. Now, I did not add the cost of the onion and the garlic in there. I did not add the cost of the gas or the labor to make them. Anyway, the big wide rings. I used them for a template. You know, I patted it all out in jelly roll pans. A lot of people call them cookie sheets. I don't know, but they're the kinds with a edge on them. Cookie sheets are flat. But I pat them all down into the jelly roll pans, and then used the wide mouth ring like a cookie cutter, you know, to cut out patties. And that worked kind of good, as long as you remember to spray the ring every time so the meat didn't want to stick to it. That was fine. But they shrunk up so much that they were just little tiny. They were way too small for the sandwiches. So I looked and looked, and I tried a couple of different things, and they all made patties that were too small. So I ended up making them by hand, and that was a pain in the tail. Now there is the added thing of I got to keep all the grease, and I'm filtering it and cleaning it up and putting it in a jar in my fridge so that I can use it for cooking and flavoring and stuff for in the future. Now, what I paid for the chubs was $2.94 a pound. When I purchased them from Walmart, great value, family size bags of frozen sausage patties, they're $4.45 a pound frozen. And I paid $2.94 a pound, you know, with the actual meat. And their patties are much smaller, so I'm really gonna like the food that's better that I make with these, you know. I like the sausage quality better. I like the flavor because of adding the hot sausage in there better, and because of adding the onions and garlic. And they gave me 40 patties where I got 34. Now, what they gave me was only 2 pounds, 3.6 ounces. And I purchased for $2 less, over $2 less. I purchased 6 pounds of meat. So that made a huge difference. The flavor made a huge difference. I'll figure out a better way of cutting them out, you know. I have a bunch of cookie cutters that are round of graduating sizes, you know, and I'm thinking maybe the largest one, or maybe a biscuit cutter. Even a biscuit cutter I think would be too small. I got to check it out. Anyway, it was $17.64 for 34 patties, as opposed to $19.84 for 40 patties. Now, it sounds like approximately the same amount of money, because even though it's more money, it's also more patties. But you're talking about a difference between 6 pounds of meat and 2 pounds, 3.6 ounces of meat. That's a huge difference, plus the fact that I liked it better. So it's definitely worth the time monetarily to do it. Now, I had talked about I'm not very proficient or very familiar with working with pork. I've done a pork shank or a pork hip or of some sort roast every Christmas since I was 16 years old. Okay, but that's really the only one. And like I said, I do like the thick pork chops. I enjoy cooking those, and I love bacon, but I don't allow myself to have it hardly ever because it's just so salty and so greasy, but it just tastes wonderful. BLT, add avocado and whole wheat bread.
Really, the only word for it is...
It's just wonderful. So I'm going to do it this way again, pain in the butt or no, and this time I will not use, I'll use the paper towels. Actually, the lady that helps me in the house, she started the project. I made the meat mixture and she started making the patties while I was working on other things. And she is the one that started using the paper towels. I don't use paper towels. I only have them here for her. I have a paper towel roll where I put washable bamboo cloths on them, and I would have put bamboo cloths down and used them. So I will use the bamboo cloths, and that wouldn't have been a problem if I froze them on the bamboo, because the bamboo doesn't come apart like the paper towel does. But when I put them away, I had put a towel over the whole jelly roll pan, you know, so no bugs or anything got on it, or dust or whatever. And when I put it into the freezer, I didn't even lift up the towel and look at them, you know. I was just concerned with them cooling down to room temperature before putting them in the freezer. And I put them in the freezer to flash freeze them, and then when I took them out and I lifted up the cloth and I went, oh, right, paper towels. Okay. Was that a fiasco? I mean, I ended up getting all of it off, but I found that if you make that mistake, or you don't have anything to use except paper towels, if I put them between one patty between my hands, you know, to warm up both sides just enough to soften the fat, and then you could peel the paper towel off without having to scrape off each individual little bit with my thumbnail or my fingernail. You can learn from my mistakes. Okay, so yes, that was successful. Yes, I'm happy with the results, and I now have 34 patties in the freezer, all wrapped up in parchment paper inside that silicone bag to make my breakfast sandwiches with. So yeah, that's where we are. Well, thank you for being here. And if you're new, welcome to my family. And if you came back, thanks for coming back. And thank you so much. Please do give a thumbs up. Or I hope you're already subscribed. If you're not, a subscription would be way cool. And comment. I got the most lovely comment from a lady today. That was delightful. She commented on my minestrone soup video, and she said, I would love to be able to sit down and eat it with you. You know, I'm paraphrasing. I never remember exactly. And that was just lovely, and that made my day. So yeah, I would love to get a comment. And that's a location. I have a world map. I keep saying this, and I haven't put it up on the wall yet. And the main reason I haven't put it up on the wall yet is because only 2 people have answered. I want to put this up on a big bulletin board over on this side here. I have a completely blank wall. And I want to put the map up there, you know, on a corkboard, and put push pins in for each location where somebody says they're watching from. And I mean, the World Wide Web, I just think that's such an amazing thing. I'm so old, you know, that I used to have to go to the library to get books, you know, and to read. So I think the World Wide Web is awesome. And I know I look at videos from people from all over the world. You know, you'll see that as I get farther along in my videos for you, and some of the recipes, they'll be from a lot of different countries. And I'm hoping that someday other people around the world will be watching mine too. Anyway, I have this little fantasy of, you know, having all these push pins on this map up there. And if you don't mind, I'd like to put your name on it or whatever your handle is on YouTube, you know. But if you do mind, I completely understand, and I'll just put the location. But someday, I'm hoping years from now, that whole wall, you know, there'll be lots of little push pins up there in different places. Anyway, that's my crazy little fantasy. So if you feel like humoring my fantasy at all, please do in the comments. Tell me where you're watching from. All right, you guys. I hope you're having a wonderful day. God bless. Toodles.